Hey guys, what's up? It's me, Savannah. Today, I'm going to be making a video for you guys, and it's going to be a little bit different than videos I have created in the past. By the way, I am sick. I feel super congested, and I have a little bit of a cough, so if I sound a little nasally or funky, ignore that, okay? Anyways, so this video is actually very important and extremely significant to me right now because this is something that I am currently dealing with and something that I have been struggling with for the past 2 months. I have always dealt with depression and anxiety since I was young enough to know the difference between what being sad is and being happy is, and always knowing that I felt a little bit more sad than happy throughout, my life. Lately, my anxiety has just been to a point where it's like extreme. Some people have anxiety and you start sweating, you get really nervous, you get super anxious, and you're just like, okay, like it's hot, your heart is beating a little fast. In the past, I've had anxiety like that. I've always had anxiety like that. I've never had social anxiety. I have never had anxiety being around too many people at once or being in a grocery store. I've always been the type of person that's very outgoing. I'm loud. I dance around. I go to the bar. I could be the first to get the dance floor started. That's just the type of person I've always been. Lately, I've turned from being this outgoing, spunky, fun person into this introvert, which is different for me because I've never been like that before. Even when I dealt with depression and going through my suicidal thoughts, my actions, all of those kinds of things, I still was never introverted. I always felt better being surrounded by people. How I'm feeling now and what I've been feeling lately, I'd much rather be alone and in my room. A lot of things have just changed. One of the things that I want to pinpoint and explain to you guys is the derealization and depersonalization that comes with anxiety, which is something that not a lot of people know about. When it first happened to me, it scared the shit out of me. I had no idea what was going on. I thought I was like stuck in this dream. In fact, my first panic attack I had was 2 months ago. And what had happened was I fell asleep. I don't even remember falling asleep. I was so exhausted that night. I remember waking up in the middle of the night at 4 o'clock in the morning exactly. I remember telling my little sister, hey, could you get off of the blanket? I'm gonna cover myself up. And she was like, yeah. In that moment, everything kind of just like was not real to me. I stopped for a second and I thought to myself, wait, am I awake or am I dreaming? So I jumped up out of bed and I turned on the light and I look around and I'm like, okay, nothing looked real. Everything looked fake to me. I started freaking out and I remember opening the door and I was yelling for my mom, yelling for my grandma. I couldn't stop shaking and I started panicking. I never had a panic attack. I've always had anxiety attacks, but never had a panic attack before. That was my first. The feeling is truly like no other. If you have never had a panic attack before or never experienced depersonalization, derealization, or experienced any type of severe anxiety, it's extremely hard to understand what the feeling feels like. The only way that I can be able to explain it and try to give you an idea of what it feels like is like being stuck in a really, really bad high or feeling an outer body experience. I've never felt like that before. To make a long story short, I end up going to my sister's house. She's taking care of me and helping me get through it. It's really hard to snap me back to reality. We drove around the city for hours, and the only thing that calmed me and felt so soothing and relaxing was just being parked in front of the church, listening to Christian music and praying. In that moment, it felt like something literally took over my body. So for those of you who understand what it feels like, that is what it feels like. It feels like you're not in control of your body whatsoever, but you are. It's weird because you're functioning. You can put a song on that and you can sing the lyrics to it. You can look at a book, you can read it, you can be talking like I'm talking right now, looking at myself in this video, but in this exact moment, it doesn't feel like it's real. The thing is that it's very hard to cope with and to understand that we are here. This is real. You're not stuck in purgatory. You're not stuck in a dream. You're not stuck in a fake world or in a cartoon. People experience it differently. The way that my symptoms are and how I feel when I'm going through my anxiety is I feel more anxiety when I go outside, when I'm in the light, like my light being on or being out in the sun or being out in public. I start to panic more and I start to black out a little bit, and I can't really think, I can't focus, I can't like even remember things. Sometimes I can't recognize things. I could hardly even recognize myself, which is, it's very terrifying. It's an absolutely terrifying feeling. What kind of helped me cope with it a little bit so far is just understanding, first of all, what depersonalization and derealization are. Just to give you guys some facts about it, basically what it is it's a feeling of being detached from yourself and being detached from your mind and from your body, psychologically and even physically. Sometimes your body goes completely numb and it just feels like you're floating. You feel like a ghost almost. There's times when I wake up and I go to the kitchen to get breakfast and I'm walking back to my room and I feel like I'm walking to my room, but my soul is like following. You may feel like everything around you is fake, or people or things look weird. Lights look a little bit brighter. For me, when I go outside, the sky kind of looks painted, almost like it's painted on a canvas in a way. Nothing looks real, or everything looks so far away from me, like out of my reach. Or when people are talking, or I hear cars drive by, or I hear music, or I'm out in public, everything sounds a lot louder than it should be. When that started happening to me, of course, just like anybody, I totally and completely freaked out because I thought, oh my God, I've lost my mind. I'm going absolutely crazy. This is it. My life is over. I went straight to Google, Googled everything that I was feeling. I kept trying to explain it to my family. I was crying for days, telling everybody and even telling my friends, like, I can't get out of my head. I can't get out of my head. I feel like I'm stuck in this dream. Like I never woke up. Everybody kept telling me, Savannah, you're awake. You know, you're here. You're alive. This is real life. Everything that you're doing, it's really happening. This isn't a dream. So why do I feel like I'm stuck in this dream? Well, what it is it's just like severe anxiety and like panic disorder, right? These are all symptoms of anxiety, of having like severe anxiety. Like I said before, I've had anxiety in the past, but never this bad. When we get overly stressed out, or too many things are happening at one time, or we can't, really focus on everything, and our minds just feel so like, crazy, like our minds are racing and we're overthinking things. That is what creates so much stress, which creates this defense mechanism, depersonalization, derealization. What it does is it numbs our body, and it numbs like our emotion, because it's kind of weird in a way that like our mind knows that we're so overwhelmed that we can't handle how much stress we're going through. So it numbs everything. So we can't feel anything. It's a defense mechanism. So depersonalization, derealization is actually only supposed to last anywhere from a few seconds to a few minutes. But people like me who overthink things a lot, we get stuck in this like cycle of obsessing over what we're feeling. It's because we're constantly thinking, I don't feel like myself. I don't feel like I'm here. I feel like I'm out of it. Numb. I feel super overwhelmed. We're constantly telling ourselves these things, right? It becomes like a cycle in our head, because anxiety causes depersonalization. Well, depersonalization is going to cause more anxiety, and then more anxiety is going to cause more depersonalization. So it keeps going and going and going and going, and it's like this whole cycle. I'm not going to sit here and say that I'm like recovered from it and I don't feel it or anything. I actually feel it every day. I am seeing a psychiatrist, going through with taking medication and doing things like that. I lost my train of thought. Sorry, I zone out so much lately. I really wanted to talk about this because it is one of the most like terrifying things that a person could feel. Not a lot of people understand what it feels like. It doesn't really make sense. I mean, I guess when you learn about it and you get educated about it, and you read about it, then okay, it starts to make sense. In that moment, and when it's happening to you, and when you've never experienced it before, it's confusing and it doesn't make sense, and it's absolutely horrifying. Anybody who has dealt with that can tell you that it is probably one of the scariest things that you could go through. I also want to talk about Depersonalization and derealization also could come from just trauma in general. A couple months ago, I actually started noticing I developed a little bit of like OCD, which I've never really had before. I started noticing that like little things in my life were changing. I remember talking to my friend Miranda about it and telling her, you know, I don't know why, but I'm constantly washing my bedding. I'm constantly washing my clothes. If people come into my room and are laying on my bed, it kind of, you know, it freaks me out a little bit. And if my room is too crowded or too messy, or if my friends sleep over and their bags are all over the place, you know, things like that, it freaks me out. And my brain just goes like, so, you know, so fast. And I'm thinking, oh my gosh, okay, what do I do? I need to clean my room. I need to do this. I need to do that. There's been other things too, like I can't put my mouth on glass anymore. Weird things. I noticed that I started kind of developing a little bit of an OCD. And I noticed that when I started developing that OCD, when things were not the way that I wanted them to be, or things were not going the way that I wanted them to, or things were changing and things were out of my control, it would give me a sense of anxiety. I think I built up so much anxiety and so much stress just focusing on all of these things and having so much irritability that it created this depersonalization type of feeling for me. Basically, I just wanted to let you guys know that this is something that I'm currently going through. Like I said before, a lot of people don't understand what it's like. And as I also said before, I never used to be an introvert, but now I am. I find comfort being inside of my house, inside of my bedroom, underneath my blankets, with the lights off. And most of the time, I don't even like to wear my glasses. It's weird, but it's just something that I am kind of going through in this moment. I felt the need to make a video to explain that to you guys because I know that there are people out there who don't really know what it feels like, but then there are people who do know what it feels like, but they're wondering, am I going crazy? Am I developing some kind of schizophrenia? Am I developing, a psychosis? Or am I really losing my mind and going mentally insane? And the answer is no, you're not losing your mind. You're not developing schizophrenia. You're not going crazy. It is a symptom to feel like you're going crazy, but you're not. It's important to just know that this is all a symptom and this is all a form of anxiety.